Hello everyone, my name is Amy Craven and this is my Family Involvement Web. I decided that my theme for my Family Involvement Web would be an apple theme, and I also decided that I would do this theme for pre-K children, ages 3 to 5. I chose an apple theme because apples are easily accessible and they're fairly inexpensive, so families would have access to them, be able to have them in their home as well as bring them into the classroom. There are also so many different activities and experiments that can be done with apples that get kids thinking critically. And you can do this over many different subject areas. So there's a lot that you can do with apples. And also, talking about apples is a great way to talk to children about healthy foods. Starting healthy habits with young children is really important, and I think apples is a good way to get that started. So here is my family involvement web. Like I said, my theme is apples. So I'll start going through the different roles that I chose. So the first role is an advocate role. Families could ask local businesses to sponsor a trip to an apple orchard, or they could come to a school meeting where we would be discussing healthier and fresher lunches. I think we all know that lunches at schools are not always the healthiest or the freshest, so I think that getting families involved in that conversation among each other as well as with the community would be a great way to get them involved. And I also think that asking businesses to sponsor the field trip would be great because that would help ensure that every child in the classroom got to go, regardless of any type of monetary restrictions. The next role is the support role. So families could donate or create props for an apple orchard center. My idea behind that was turning the dramatic play center into an apple orchard where children are able to dress up like farmers and pretend that they are farmers and sell apples to each other. So that way they're not only getting that dramatic play experience, but they're also, getting some math concepts in there as well. They could also create graphs for our apple taste test. That way, they could bring that in. They would be able to give us a template for something we could use. The apple taste test is basically when children get to taste different types of apples and choose which one is their favorite, and then we would graph the results to see what the favorite flavor was. And then families could also photograph planned activities such as the taste test or apple orchard trip, and also unplanned activities such as the children at our apple orchard center. I think this would be great for families that maybe have that photography strength that they could share with the classroom, and also this helps document what's happening along the way with the theme to help show families, what is going on and how their involvement is helping us in the classroom. The next role is counselor, so families could ask their student how they felt about the apple orchard trip and talk with them about that experience. Or they could also have, daily conversations with their child about what we did with apples that day. That way they're learning what's going on in the classroom and also having that, one-on-one conversation with their child. The next role is educator, so families could teach a lesson about the apple life cycle in the classroom. Um, this can sometimes be a more complex topic, I think, for children, but I think this is a really great way to introduce it. I think it would be great for a family member to come in and share that. They could also read a book about apples to the class. That way they could share a literacy experience with the children in the classroom. And they could try out new apple recipes with their child and talk about the experience with them. Children can learn so much from cooking. I think it's a great way they can learn science and math and literacy and just so much from it. So cooking is really a great way, especially if they're sharing that with their family member. That's a lot of fun. And I think teachers could provide some simple and healthy recipes that families could try out on their own as well. The next role is manager, so they could help organize the apple orchard trip or organize the apple orchard center. This would probably be a great role for somebody that has a little bit more time that they're willing to give. And then the last role is the protector role, so families could chaperone the trip to an apple orchard, or they could also talk with their child about healthy eating habits and encourage more fresh fruits and veggies. Like I said before, I think apples are a great way to start talking about those healthy habits with children that are so important to get started at that young age. And then here are some of the activities that inspired some of my ideas. So the apple taste test, like I said. Also, they could count seeds from what families, maybe apples that families brought in. Families could participate in that as well. Classroom cooking, if you're able to cook in your classroom. If not, giving out those recipes to families to try at home. Here's some books and songs about apples. How Do Apples Grow kind of talks about the life cycle, which would be a great way to introduce that topic to the children. The Apple Orchard dramatic play, a field trip to an apple orchard, and then learning about the apple life cycle. I think it would be a lot of fun to watch an apple rot in a jar. I think kids would really like that. So finally, if you guys have any questions, please leave them for me in the discussion board. And thank you so much for listening.